Hello everyone, welcome to Module 1 of Building Scalable Distributed Systems. This module is going to give you some basic history about how distributed systems have come into the fore and how they've evolved over the last 20 or 30 years. Back when I was roughly the age of most of you in this audience, the graphic on the right was the sort of software that we wrote. I actually wrote a system using this technology, IBM Kix, for those of you who are interested, in the mid-1980s. And if you poke around government agencies or maybe the odd bank, you might still find a green screen system like this running. There's still quite a lot of them around, typically written in a language called COBOL, or the ones I was using, PL1. Look it up. And really, before the advent of the internet in roughly the early 1990s, all systems looked like this, and they were constrained to the amount of users that they had because people outside the buildings of the organizations could not see the systems. There was just no internet access. As websites evolved and the internet evolved in the early 1990s, websites were pretty much just static HTML. And in comparison, of course, there was very few websites and very few users. Most businesses just didn't even think about exposing their technologies to the web. This started to change in the 1990s. The World Wide Web backbone started to grow dramatically, and it allowed for many more users to access applications. Enterprises, of course, saw this as a business opportunity and started to put their products online. So we saw anything from retailers to news outlets to government agencies starting to put their products on the internet for the general public to be able to access. Have a poke around the Wayback Machine. This is basically the Internet Archive, and it records the images of what websites look like over 20-30 year history. There's some quite funny stuff in there. Go and look at CNN.com, for example, or anything you fancy. You'll probably find some entertainment in there. It's almost like looking at history. In the late 1990s, things started to boom, and businesses that were traditionally brick and mortar started to put their systems online so that retailers could sell directly to consumers over the internet. And this created interesting opportunities and problems for organizations, as we will see. Examples, of course, Amazon, which was founded in 1994, and even in the late 1990s, I remember going to a workshop in San Francisco where Amazon was well known, of course, but losing vast amounts of money at the time. People were questioning whether its business model was correct and it would survive. How foolish we all look now. And even traditional brick and mortar retailers like Walmart, Target were starting to put their businesses online. And of course, new online business models were starting to emerge. eBay, the auction site, and a little bit later in the 2000s, Facebook and Google. Google started to emerge in the late 1990s, early 2000s as essentially a search engine to start off with. So we also saw new consumer products available on the internet. So of course, there's email like Gmail. Salesforce.com is an example of a customer resource management system which is used by many organizations. Music delivery systems, YouTube, of course, and Netflix for video, and more recently, voice recognition systems such as Siri and Alexa and Cortana. So the internet has created a huge range of opportunities for consumer products. All of this means, of course, that all these services are able to create and capture massive amounts of data. You can get millions of people accessing your systems. You can keep histories of what they buy, what they access, how fast they are on certain pages, how long they dwell on certain pages. And this analysis can be useful for tuning your systems, making them better, making them capture more useful information, and eventually making more money for you. But The amount of data that is now collected, as we'll see as this course evolves, is unprecedented. On the right there's a little graphic of a Utah data center, which is actually an NSA data center, where lots of spooky information is captured. And these buildings are huge. They hold, the NSA we don't know for sure, but they hold tens of thousands of machines and disks and require huge amounts of power and cooling. Just as an example, let's look at Walmart. Good old Walmart. Walmart knows what will happen when we have inclement weather, such as a hurricane, unfortunately for those people in Houston right now, as I'm recording this. So what sales do you think are impacted by an impending hurricane? Certainly people go out and buy water and flashlights just in case the power goes off and the water goes off. And strawberry Pop-Tarts increase sevenfold. But what else? Which do you think? Bread or bottled water? Beer, cigarettes or milk? You're not surprised that the answer is beer. People go out and buy lots of beer and have hurricane parties. And of course, what does this allow Walmart to do? It enables them, when they see a hurricane impending in the forecast, to get their distributors to send more beer to their stores. So in this case, knowledge is profit. By being able to predict what sales will happen in certain circumstances, retailers can optimize their supply chain to deliver goods that will sell and make them more money. And it also enables them to do this just-in-time approach by really not having stock in their stores until they know it's going to be needed. There's no point in having 1 million cases of beer if they're only going to sell 1,000 a day. But if they're going to sell 100,000 a day, then they probably do need to get 1 million cases of beer in their warehouses pretty darn quickly. And of course, if you can do this sort of predictive analysis to understand what sales you're going to have impending in the near future, you can have a significant advantage over your competitors. So just for fun, pick an internet service that you use commonly, maybe YouTube or Spotify or whatever you like, Facebook, and poke around. See what you can find out about the actual statistics of that site. How many users does it have? Maybe how many users does it serve at peak times? Netflix is a classic example here. How many servers or employees or engineers or data centers does it have? And how much data does it manage? You won't be able to get real definitive numbers, much as this is commercial in confidence. But see what you can find and create a Piazza post. See if you can just add some bullet points about your favorite service and see if we can impress everybody and maybe just give some insights into the amount of data and processing that exists in the world today. Because that's really what this course is about, how we handle massive amounts of data and massive amounts of transactions in our software systems. And we'll start thinking about the engineering of those systems in the next module.